Welcome back to OpenLine, talking about metro schools. A lot of discussion about the shortage of school bus drivers, which has certainly been in the news a lot. We have with us Susan York, Assistant Manager of the Customer Service Center. Also Fred Carr, Chief Operating Officer, who oversees transportation. And as we've heard some calls saying we'd like more hours from, I believe, bus drivers or former bus drivers. You said at one point that we used to have the highest pay in Metro. Now other districts have joined us or maybe surpassed us even. So where do we rank with pay, and who are our competitors when it comes to getting these bus drivers?
We're at the beginning end of our scale. We're competitive with everybody else. And looking at this deeply, where we fall off is how long it takes to get from the beginning end of the scale to the top end of the scale. So other businesses and other metro departments, Head Start, for example, and MTA, you can get from beginning to the high end of the salary range in several years. For us, it's 15 to 17 years. So that's something that we need to look at, because our experienced drivers are very valuable. If they've been with us for a while, they know kids, they know what they're doing, they have very few issues on the bus because they know how to deal with it, and those are people that we want to retain. So we have to look at how long does it take from the beginning end of the scale to get to the higher ends of the scale, and we may need to speed that up. We may need to compress that salary scale a little bit, or a lot. Let's see. Yeah.
And I asked you earlier, do you think this will be addressed by the end of this school year? You said you did think it would. Something like what you just said, it seems like that would take some time to get passed or do whatever needs to be done to make that kind of a change. What do you see changing really quickly so that we turn this around really quickly?
We have a group that will be meeting. I'm going to expect to hear some stuff from them within a couple of weeks. We're looking at this very tight. Our human capital department has a compensation specialist. His whole job, and he's come to us out of business, but his whole job is to analyze the different jobs in metro schools and assign a competitive salary based upon the Middle Tennessee area, and then looking at, depending on what it is nationally. Here's another example away from buses. In our IT area, where we have programmers that work with all of our software and that sort of thing, we're not competing with other districts for those employees. We're competing with HCA and the medical entities here in town. And so we have to be competitive because they are competitive. And so that is an area. Bus drivers, we're not just competing with Wilson County and Williamson County. They need drivers also, and we are competing with them, but we're also competing with trucking companies, delivery companies, those people that need professional drivers. So our competition in just two example areas is more than just school systems.
And you're going to have a job fair, right? Is that right? I think it's like next week, October 29th.
Right.
You had one last week.
That's our next one.
You had one last week, now you're going to have another one. And what happens to these things? Just if there are people out there that are interested, what is that the way to go about it?
They come and sign up. That is one way to go about it. You can apply online at mnps.org. You can come to the central office and apply. My office is in a building across the parking lot from the main office, and I was walking across the parking lot last week, and a lady stopped me in the parking lot and said, I'm looking for where I can sign up to be a bus driver. I have two kids and they've been late to school, and I want to help fix this, and I need a job. I said, ma'am, if you'll park your car right over there, I will escort you in myself and get you an application. So I did. I mean, this is, personalized service. We want to hire quality people. So you can do that online, at the job fair, or at the district office.
And then one other thing on that, there are background checks and that kind of thing that somebody has to pass.
Correct.
That you might not have to pass if you worked somewhere else. But metro schools, what are some of the things you're going to have to pass there?
You have to pass a criminal background check. And there are some offenses that occurred years ago that we look at and say, you know, you were 18 and I was 18 once, and okay, I understand. There are others that will eliminate you from working with kids. So that is, and everybody has to go through a metro school's background check. So you have to be able to do that. And then you have to be able to pass the commercial driver's license test, and that is the CDL commercial driver's license is actually a national driver's license that's good in all 50 states. So that is a standardized exam that we administer part of it, and part of it's administered through the Highway Patrol. So we also help you get that. We provide the training that will help you qualify for your CDL license. So you have to do all of those things. Bus driving is a tough job, and there's a lot of requirements, and there's a lot of responsibility because you hold those kids' lives in your hands, and they're other people's kids, and it's really important. So there are some things that you have to do. Our training department, which was revamped a year ago, will help you do that.
And we've looked into, bus driving is a very important job. You look in other counties, and are there wrecks and accidents? You all have not had major, massive accidents that at least I'm aware of. So that's a real positive thing. When you talk about how important this job is, yeah, you do have to get it right. You got to get the right people doing this. And so, yeah, that's just one of the challenges, right? And when you look back on kind of, I don't feel like there are a lot of accidents. There's some minor fender benders and that kind of thing. But what about the safety record?
The safety is obviously #1 factor. And we train our bus drivers to be safe. We have some zero tolerance policies that we adhere to, that we just expect. And our drivers come through. You have to consider the percentages. If we're running over 500 buses on the roads every day, we have accidents. It just happens. These are big vehicles with mirrors that stick way out. We consider a mirror hit with a tree limb to be an accident. And so we'll do the preventable, non-preventable. We'll go through the accident scenario. So we look at everything, and we dissect it. And if we need to make a change in training, we do that. But as part of our training, the safety is #1. That drivers understand that this is the most critical thing. So we have very responsible drivers. We do have accidents. We have people that run into the back of buses, and I'm like, okay, it's a big yellow school bus. The sun.
Are they on their phones? Maybe they're on their phones.
Sun was in their eyes or something, but that unfortunately happens. So our drivers are really safe, and we appreciate them.
All right, so Susan, as far as over the customer service center, the kinds of calls you're seeing, I already asked about the bus driver calls. That's certainly one of them. What are some of the other things you're getting over there?
What's going on right now is, last time we were here, we talked about the School Choice Festival, the big festival we put on at Music City Center. We were really happy. We had around 5,500 people who came out to see us there. We had all of our schools showcased. You got to see everything new going on at the school, meet the staff. Well, now is the time to submit your applications. It's coming up November 2nd. So all kids will go home with an application from school. Also, we'll have our application live on our website. You can submit at that time. You can come on into our office if you need some help deciding what might be the best fit for you. So we're getting a lot of calls about that, helping people decide what they'd like to apply for. And we're there up until 5:30 every day for anyone who needs help.
This is the time to make this decision. And you do a first, second, third, or how does that work?
We do 1 through 7.
1 through 7.
You can apply for
okay.
And you put them down. What's really great is that you put them down in the priority that you would like to have them. We work really hard to get you your #1 or 2, and whatever you'd like to have, just apply for it. We have people this year, new this year, we have our family liaisons that joined us last time, and they're actually helping you select the best school for your child based on their goals and their interests. So.
And this really speaks to the fluid nature now of schools. You live across the street from one school. In the past, you would go to that school. Now you can choose to go to another school, right? And so how important is where you're zoned? Is that less important now? Is that kind of is that what we're seeing?
One of the things we're helping parents to figure out is, what is my zone school? With so many schools and so many options, a lot of people don't really know, and that's what we're helping with them with at the festival, to see what great things my zone school has, and a lot of families are choosing to stay there.
And in your zone school, you would have a bus that would take you. You do the school choice, then you are responsible for getting there yourself. So there's an advantage.
Well, what's great this year also is the Stride program. So any high school students have their bus pass, which is also used as their MTA pass. So that really opened up a lot of options for anyone in high school. Middle school has joined in by request with the MTA passes. So kids are really getting to explore more than they ever have before, because they're not limited by the bus service.
And as somebody over transportation, what are the longest routes? I mean, I saw on this fact sheet again, within an hour, no route should last longer than 90 minutes. There are some routes where there are kids that are taken from one part of town all the way to another part of town. They're obviously going past schools that would be closer.
Right.
Is that going to change? Is that something that was the result of busing, frankly, from an earlier era? Or is that changing, that these kids are going to be?
What you're talking about are our zoned option schools, and let me give you a number. About 25% of the kids in the district attend a school outside of their zone, and that's a huge number compared to any other. Most of the other counties in Tennessee, you have 5 elementary schools and 2 middle schools and 1 high school, and you just kind of go because that's the only choice. In Nashville, parents have a tremendous number of choices with district, magnet schools, charter schools, all different kinds of schools. And as Susan said, it can overwhelm parents and their kids with choices. So we have these programs and contact people to try to help parents understand their choices and make sure that they get the best fit for their child. So the zoned option, the one I'm most familiar with that we transport, is out of North Nashville, Pearl Cone area to Hillwood out in Belmead. And that was as a result of the No Child Left Behind a number of years ago that paired different schools and mandated transportation. We have kept that in place because we have a pretty strong demand for Hillwood from North Nashville kids, and so we've kept the yellow bus transportation in place to provide that. As population shifts happen, and again, as we're a growing city, all of that is fluid and will change to meet the demand of where people want to go to school. So it's something, we redo bus routes every year. We do it based upon where kids say they want to go, where they've been accepted. So it's not something that we can just say this is it and it's going to be this way for the next 10 years. It changes all the time.
A route like that's that long, does that add an additional challenge, especially when you have, because that's just a long route?
It actually does, particularly for our middle schoolers. That's a long time for middle schoolers to be on a bus. And so for some of those buses, the monitor that called earlier, we will put a monitor, another adult, on that bus just for safety reasons, particularly with middle schoolers, because middle schoolers are middle schoolers. So we do that. We respond to the need with a resource.
All right, we are going to take a break. If you're on the line, hold on. If you want to call, there's the number, 615-737-7587. Take a break. Be back right after this.